Hello there and welcome to the channel. I'm Cindy Daychuck with Queen Bee Creations. Thanks for tuning in. Before they release anything else on me, I wanted to grab a chance to be able to do some cool, fun things with the new IOD Seed Catalogue transfer. So this is a number of pages of different sized little seed packets. So, you know, whether the full sheet, quarter sheet, whatever, I just love them. I love old seed packets, and I love the labels, that ephemera kind of feel to it. So we're gonna do a number of projects with this. It also helps me with my thrift stash. So one of the things that I want to do is I thrifted this old wooden box. Now it's got grapes stamped on the top and needs a little bit of cleanup. So off camera, I am going to go sand this. Just give it a nice light overall all sand and take care of that. So just want to give you an update. That's what's happening to that one. And then this guy is kind of a picture frame tray, right? And I just had a picture frame tray in the shop that lasted 4 days. So this one's a little bit smaller. We're gonna zhuzh it up a little bit, but I thought this would be super fun to do something with as well. It opens out from the bottom. So what I am going to do is give this a coat of white paint. So I'm gonna take care of both those things because they both have to happen before I can do anything with my transfer. So I'm gonna get to it. While we've got paint drying elsewhere, I wanted to show you this old antique frame. Look at the details, look how beautiful that is. Now, I am not going to paint this. I am going to zhuzh it up a little. And look at, I got it for $5 less, I think 20%, so $4. Okay, you know what? It's nice when people think old is ugly so that I can get it cheaper. All right, so what I am gonna do is get this glass out of here so that I can, get this cleaned. Well, these have not been moved in a long time. That's obvious. Okay. Awesome. Oh, and that's just a little piece of paper. So there is no easy way to get this glass out. And I don't want to have to be nailing those nails back in because this glass is cut to fit. And you know, it's got angle cuts. I don't want to have to do that. So we're leaving it in. But what we are going to do is, this is mostly wood and it's got some little tin parts. It's got some little leather inserts. So what I wanted to do, and I'll just clean the glass off both sides afterward, is I just wanted to take some clear DIY wax and I just want to wax it all. I'm going to do front and back. So really, we're just using the wax. So I'm going to apply it and then I'm going to take my cloth, so I have a clean lint-free rag, and I will wipe it back. And with that, I'll also be kind of rubbing it in. So I just want to condition all of this stuff. It's all really old and it's dry and kind of, you know, old wood gets kind of brittle. So we just want to get it all sort of, all the trimming, everything just kind of nicely conditioned. And so as soon as I get that all done, we can carry on with this project. All right, now that this is all waxed down, what I do have is Golden Rule by DIY. This is a really light, pretty translucent gold toned wax by DIY. So I'm taking a stencil brush and I am kind of really taking off a lot of it. But what I want to do, and you could do this or you could use your finger, right? So I'm just seeing how much is on here, and I'm just kind of gonna use it to bring out some of the details, because it's got beautiful details that you don't really see. And I don't want it to be super bright or brassy. I mean, you could use like a rub and buff product if you wanted on this, but they're a little brassier or a little more opaque. And right now I'm thinking that I'd like to try this look first. So I'm just going to continue to do this and highlight slowly some of the details, because I'd like to avoid painting it. I think I'd like to just have something that was just the wood. Now, to go inside our frame, which is now drying, the wax is still soft. Once it's had overnight, it's going to be dry. It's not going to be wiping off. It's going to be great. To put into that, using our seed catalog, I'm taking one of the full pages. Now, it is just a little bit shorter, but here's what I opted to do. Now, you could have painted this white just so that the catalog is going to show up on a clean background. It had that white paper that was inserted, but it was all kind of aged and dirty. So what I did do, because it's bigger than 8, this is bigger than 8.5 by 11, is I pieced together 2 pieces of photo paper. See how it's glossy? So this will ultimately, let me see which way it fits best, fit in here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply my transfer onto that glossy paper. And I actually haven't done it onto this before, but it's nice and glossy. It's slick. This like slick surfaces. I can't see any reason why it wouldn't work. I have a little more transfer than I need. So I am thinking I'm going to be trimming it down a bit. And rather than leave it to, just peel it off and kind of center it, I'm not sure if there's going to be some little pieces that aren't going to work that are usable elsewhere for another project. So I'm going to kind of trim a little bit of excess off now so that I can see what would work and not work, and I can then save pieces for other things just in case. I mean, maybe I can't salvage anything, but I'd rather go in prepared to save than regret it later. It's just a way of thinking ahead to be able to potentially have your transfers do more for you. Now, I want to have the word seeds in there because otherwise it doesn't all make sense. So what doesn't make sense then is everything in at the top, because we're not going to see all of that lettering. So that I can save. This can fit in here. All of that can stay, but it looks like I'm going straight up this line. Just make sure again. Measure twice, cut once. Same rule for your transfers. Okay, so right there. So again, because of doing that, I end up with this piece everything in, and I end up with this piece. And I get that this looks like that's not going to be usable, but trust me, like on a card or just on the edge of something, that's going to work. So it's, all right, in my mind, it's worth doing. And I save all those little bits and I can use them in little projects. If you think that's being too fussy or picky, don't do it. It's like, you know, you do you. Okay, oh, that's just sticking down faster than I even intended for it to stick. So photo paper works great. I'm thinking, because it was adhering on there really well. So with these, obviously you just take the tool. So obviously for those of you that have done this, not so obvious for those of you that haven't, but it comes with the little stick in each of the transfer packs, and you're just going to rub this on like you would a, you know, little temporary tattoo, and see as it starts to adhere. What you can do is kind of peel back as you go and see what's stuck down, what hasn't, and then rub some more. This next little project for the seed catalog is pretty simple. Now I thrifted for, I think 75 cents, this little metal lantern. It had 2 of the glass panels still intact. The other 2 have long disappeared. So what I'm looking to do, okay, come on, there we go, is I'm going to, okay, assuming this one works in the back. Yeah, okay. So I've got the small one that goes on the front door. I've just taken that off so that I can clean it. And then I'm going to use this one, the big one, on the back, rather than having it on one side. And then it doesn't look like it doesn't belong. So I'm just going to pop this one back in, and it's got little metal tabs that are easy to, you know, use on your hands. And I'm going to clean this one off. Now, it's got a little bit of rust on the bottom. I don't care. I'm just going to put that down on the bottom again. But we just are cleaning it off to make sure that I've got a nice clean surface before I apply my transfer. And I've specifically looked at each of the transfers from the perspective of what would work for each of my projects. So what I'm looking at doing is, this is a little flower seed one, because I want it relatively centered on my glass, but sort of balanced top to bottom, so that it's going to show once I insert it with the tabs. But really, all that I'm looking at doing is putting this on and then inserting it back in. And I've cleaned this all off. It's in okay shape. I mean, if you needed to, you could have spray painted it. Certainly if you wanted it a different color other than black, but I'm okay for this project with it being black. Could have waited a little longer for my glass cleaner to dry, but it's okay. Now with this one, you have a choice. See, that's just nice and lovely and vintage looking. You can put it so that it faces outward, right? Or you could have it facing inward so you can see it properly from the front. I think I'm gonna face it outward. The struggle is real. Put it in there. And hopefully these glasses work on all three sides. Just get my tab out of the way. Yes. Perfect. Look how cute that looks in that little window, right? With a little plant in there, candle in there. Okay, that's adorable. I have the little box painted with 2 coats of Apothecary from DIY, and I have lightly sanded it. Now, I wanted the metal studs and the wood framing to still be intact, but I'm going to be applying the transfers over the painted surface, and so I am looking at sealing it. Okay, I could have gotten a little dish, but I was lazy. So all I'm using here is Tough Coat by Fusion, one, because I've got it open, and also it's in a light gloss. It's not like a super high gloss, so if you're looking to use it on a project, no, it's not super glossy. It's just got a nice light gloss to it. But you can see the DIY paint dries lighter and then finishes, darkens out when you seal it up, whether with a polyacrylic or with a wax. For our small tray, what I did do was spray paint the backing board, and I spray painted white the framed insert. And I did paint white the whole outside part of it. It's drying right now. I didn't spray paint it. I painted it in white linen by DIY. I am just going to take a pencil and very lightly kind of mark off the tops and sides of my 4 openings, because I'm going to be applying the transfers directly here. And I have 4 little seed packets that I'm doing for this one. So I want to make sure that I get each of them into their respective openings. Right. So now that I have my area kind of marked off for them, what I did do was I picked 4 of the 1/4 page transfers, little seed packets, and I went through them to make sure I could have done, whether I could do 4 florals or 4 fruits, 4 veg. So I have fruit and vegetables. The other thing that I did was 2 of them are like the solid packets, and 2 of them have a lot more white space. So what I do want to do is make sure that I balance that off, right? So have the seed packets there, and maybe do this. Okay, so, just a little design element to it more than anything else. Once I pull this backing paper off, right, the white opaque, I should, through my grid lines, be able to get a rough idea of where my lines are. Okay, and of course I start with the one that's solid. All right, that one's down, so I'm going to use it as a bit of my guide for the placement of my others. This is our little green box all sealed up. Now, interesting, this wood I had left unsealed, and then I sealed it when I was sealing this, and it bled So I have almost like antiquing look on this, and I like it. So, which is good because otherwise I have to repaint. But before, I mean, it wasn't sealed, and it just kind of bled into the sealer and created kind of this old worn patina, which I really like, and works really, really well actually with the fact that the transfer that I had selected from the seed catalog is this old sepia toned one. I thought that it would work really well with the wood trim. So what I am looking at, and again, here I have to kind of trim these down to kind of see where they're going here, just at the top, because as I bring this one forward, I have to see where it goes to. So if I have those resting there, then just along here. And I'm just looking at having this as kind of a strip coming down here and then down in here. And the rest is plain. And I think that, again, kind of that sepia tone. So, you know, each of the transfers that I selected, I deliberately picked with a particular project in mind. You know, I wanted to do just the fruits on the one. I wanted to do just the, I'm just thinking I might not be eyeballing this perfect. So there we go. So, you know, again, making sure that I just did all kind of fruits and veg together on the one tray and not florals and fruits, and the one that I did for the big picture frame, you know, the old antique picture frame. I wanted to have a little bit more of an antique-y look to it, and, you know, just kind of keep in mind the little lantern. It was pick specific, so they would all work. I can't get my nail underneath it. Come on, there we go. Awesome. So you see what I mean in terms of the coloring of this one. We're not adding in any additional colors. It's just got that light kind of sepia tone to it. So I'm gonna add part of this, kind of carrying on the pattern. I'm gonna add this one in. I'm gonna have a little bit left over, and then I will get those sealed up. And then this one's done. We have our finished products. Now, these were all items that the idea was using some of the transfers from the seed catalog, which I hadn't had a chance to play with yet. So one was this little antiqued wooden box, and I really love that little sepia toned transfer on that. I think that that's the perfect look. One that was super colorful. Just wouldn't have fit it, wouldn't have worked as well, I think. So super cute, love how that turned out. We did just a quick makeover on this little lantern, right? So we get to put in a little potted plant or a little tea light into it, close it up, we can hang it up, put it down on a table. Originally I had put the glass facing out, but then I thought nobody's gonna see it that way. You're probably gonna be having it sitting this way, facing you. Duh, makes sense. Sometimes it takes me overnight to figure some of these things out. There you go. So again, a really quick little redo. It just took some soap and water to scrub this up and fixing up the glass panels. And I am perfectly okay with the two sides being open. I don't think that detracts from it at all. We did this big tray. Now, if you recall, the tray was all dark, heavy brown wood. We've lightened it up. We've added our little seed packet transfers in there. It just looks super cute and much lighter, brighter, perfect for summer entertaining. Now, we did stay a little dark with the antique frame, but look at that golden roll, that really light shimmer, brings out some of the details of it. And I think that this seed packet has a bit of an antique look to it. It's kind of got that old feel, just really suits the frame, brightens it up. I love that. Sometimes, you know, some of the details of these things are just gorgeous. And so leaving them in that kind of old world heavy look, just a little bit of that gold brightened it up enough that I love this. I love how that turned out. If you wanted, I mean, you could certainly do a little bit of dark waxing on the transfer itself to age that out a little bit, but, and I debated, but I like the contrast, and I think it just kind of brightens the frame up a little bit, which is already fairly heavy. You know what? I like how all of these turned out. I think that it's a really versatile little transfer. It's in the smaller size, so it's a smaller price point, but there are so many different projects and things that you can do with it that it's really versatile. Let me know what you guys think. You know, I love to hear from you, and I certainly look forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, take care.